Okay. All working.
No, because it's not. Wait, give it a check. Okay.
Okay.
You have the OBS thing.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Let's jump to the right screen. So,
Yeah.
what are we doing today, Mike?
Hi guys. While we're fixing the technical difficulties, today we are going to be analyzing some essays that various students have posted in Facebook groups asking for critiques. And so that's what we're going to be giving them and you guys to help you guys on your IELTS journey. I'm Mike, by the way.
And I'm Phil, and I'm still trying to figure this out for a second.
All right, guys. So if you're just joining us, down below, the very first link is going to link to the Google document that you can open up and see the various essays. We're going to be going over 3 of them today, and it shouldn't take more than 20 to 30 minutes. We hope you stick around for the whole time and find some useful things out.
Okay, I'm close. I think I got it. Okay, let's do it. Right, so we're going to have a look at this first one here. Okay. So what we did is a lot of people have been asking in Facebook groups, can someone help us correct the actual essays? So I just went through and I picked out a few that we can talk about. So this one's by Aliriza Omarani. So if Mike said that wrong, he can apologize.
I did not. I'm not even going to attempt with names. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with them.
Okay, so if we're looking at this, there's a prompt and there's an essay, but there's a bit of an issue between the two of them.
Pretty big problem.
Yeah, so what would you say the big issue here was?
So the big issue here is if we look at the prompt itself, the development of tourism contributed to English becoming the most prominent language in the world. Some people think this will lead to English becoming the only language to be spoken globally. What are the advantages and disadvantages of having one language in the world? So this might have been a copy and paste error, but
yeah,
this is still a really common problem where people answer the wrong question. Now, we can see right off the bat from the very first paragraph, it is believed that social media, such as Facebook, Instagram, etc., has repercussions on people's lives and their communities. I utterly agree with this notion. This is clearly an opinion essay. It's the wrong kind of essay, and it's about an entirely different topic. You guys may be laughing. It's clearly just a copy and paste error, Michael, but we do see this kind of thing happen. A lot of times we see this happen when students are memorizing essays.
Yeah, you've really got to fit the essay structure to the essay writing rather than like phrases and things like that. Yeah, I've seen that quite a lot as well.
So don't memorize things and make sure you're answering the right question.
Yeah. So I think the issue here is if you read it, it's not a bad essay, but you would get quite a low score in touch response.
Yes, yeah, touch response.
Because it's not matching up to what the examiner is expecting.
Yes. So our next essay that we're going to be jumping to is the pie chart. It's the 3rd essay in the document.
Okay, so let me just get down. Okay, so shall we have a quick look at it, what it says?
Yeah, let's. We're just gonna give you guys a few, like about a minute, a couple of seconds to look through it yourselves, just to get familiar with it.
Yeah. So the pie chart below shows the online shopping sales for retail sectors in New Zealand in 2003 and 2013. Okay. So we've got, if we look at it, 2 pie charts, and it's split into different sections, and we've got travel, film, music, books, and clothes.
Now, there's something important here. First of all, we're going to have to be using sentence frames that describe percentages with pie charts, and a lot of students have trouble with this. But there's one other thing. Because there's a change over time, there's the difference of a decade, you can use change over time language, increase, decrease.
That's true, yeah.
You can use those phrases, but you need to be using both because this is a pie chart, so it's about percentages, proportions. Yeah. It's not about absolute numbers.
Can we just go back to what you said about sentence frames?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by sentence frames again?
So a sentence frame is a sentence that you can learn. You can memorize this sentence and then adapt it to many different situations.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you just learn correct sentence frames for task 1s, this is all types of task 1s, you're probably going to do okay on them.
Yeah.
Because there's certain types of sentences that we use over and over to describe certain types of data. Just to give you guys a few examples of sentence frames for this pie chart, I would probably say 36% of New Zealand online sales for the retail sector were for travel.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we can change that sentence frame to be a different category. So same structure, just a different category. 24% of total online sales in the retail sector in New Zealand were for film or music. Okay. As you guys can see, we just change what the subject is. We change the number, but the grammar, the structure is still exactly the same.
I actually have, in class, I try and give examples of how to do this wrong. It's really difficult as a native speaker to actually think of how not to say this correctly, because really when you learn the structure, you're never going to get this wrong. But we did do, well, you did a very excellent video all about pie charts. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And you can find that on the channel if you want to kind of review the language that you need for pie charts in particular.
So let's look at this person's essay itself. Okay.
So let me just scroll it down on the screen. There we go.
All right. So let's remember when we're doing a task 1, we have an intro, overview, and then body 1, and then body 2.
Yeah.
Let's just look at these paragraphs by paragraph.
Okay.
Okay. So the intro, the 2 pie charts demonstrate the e-shopping discounts for retail sectors in New Zealand between 2000 and 2013, typically for traveling, films, music, books, and clothes. All right, let's talk about what they did well and what they did poorly. For what they did well, it's good that they included basic information from the pie chart in their introduction.
There's no data, there's no analysis, right?
Yep, there's no analysis, but there are things that were in the pie chart that were not in the prompt, which is perfectly good. If you can see basic information, for example, travel, film and music, books, and clothes, and put them into your intro, that's great. Okay. Now, unfortunately, her biggest problem is the vocabulary that she's using here. Demonstrate is a high-level vocabulary word that many students try to use as a synonym for show.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, demonstrate and show, it's not an exact synonym. You can't use them in all the same situations. What does demonstrate mean? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Well, to demonstrate is actually for me to get up and show you the pie chart and how it works. You can use it in that sense. It doesn't really work as in displays.
Yeah.
Which is what we mean by show.
Yep. Demonstrate needs an action to be happening. The pie charts are not demonstrating anything.
No, they're lazy pie charts.
They can't get up. They can't do anything. Yeah. So a better word that I always have my students use is illustrate.
Yeah.
Illustrate is a good exact synonym that you can use in every situation.
Definitely.
Okay.
There's one other word I probably wouldn't use here. Typically.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we need to use that because it's either true or it's not true. It's not a habit. And here it would be, sometimes they do this and sometimes they don't.
But the pie chart clearly has these 4 categories. Typically doesn't work. One last thing, and this is a pretty big one. Demonstrate the e-shopping discounts for retail sectors. There's nothing about discounts in the prompt or on the graph. Yeah. This is coming out of nowhere, which means that it's false. If this was an essay for someone in my class, I would write lies.
You write what you do?
Lies, not true.
In red pen.
Yes. Because it's not what the graph is showing. It's not saying anything about discounts. And again, this is happening because the student is trying to paraphrase, but they don't realize that the vocab they're using doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Some strange noises happening around.
Let's look at the overview.
Okay. So here the overview says, overall, it is obvious that the traveling sales sector was dominant throughout the 10-year period. In addition, online shopping sales of traveling, film, music, and books had increased throughout the decade, but outfit sales had become less.
I can see 3 or 4 things.
Yeah.
Do you want to pick out one that you see?
What's the one you see?
Okay. So if we just go in order, the first one that I see is it is obvious. This is padding. A lot of students try to add these words to be like, hey, I need 150, here's 3 more, haha. But unfortunately, it's just fluff and the examiners know that. You also need to be careful because it is obvious. It kind of shows an opinion.
Yeah, and there's a famous saying that someone created about task 1s. What was that one like?
I think it goes no I, no why, no conclusions.
Yes.
This clearly falls into no I.
Yeah, no opinions
Yes.
in task 1. Yeah, that's true. And there's another one you had?
Yep, I see a lie.
Ah, another lie.
Yes, another lie. Dominant. I think dominant means that it's the most significant, right?
Yeah.
So
Just go back and have a look at those.
unfortunately, while it is dominant in the first one, in the second one, it's overtaken by another category. It goes 36% to 29%. But is that film and music?
Yeah.
In 2013?
33%. Yeah.
It's 33%, so it's no longer the dominant category.
Yeah, so that's false information.
Lies.
Yeah. So, do you think this is just poor analysis, or do you think it's someone trying to use vocabulary that they've learned by heart?
I think it's trying to use high-level vocab that they don't really understand.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it will affect both the vocab score and the task achievement score of this essay. If you say things that are factually wrong, it hurts your task achievement section.
Definitely. Yeah, with task 1, you're just dealing with the facts on the page, and you've got to stick to that. Yeah.
Now, something good that I liked was that they did say increase, because this is change over time, and it did increase. However, we don't know if sales increased.
Yeah.
This is a common problem that students don't realize. Pie charts show proportions. They don't show absolute sales. One way that go ahead.
I was just going to say that we could imagine there were 100 sales in 2003 and 100 sales in 2013. The sales haven't increased. It's just the proportion of those sales in those different sectors, right?
Well, in that case, because they're the same, they would increase.
They would increase. No, but I mean the total sales, if that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the total sales were different, exactly. So if there were 100 in 2003, but 10 in 2013.
Yeah, so the proportions may be larger, but the actual sales have fallen. Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
exactly.
So the point is that we don't have that information, so we can't say.
We have no idea how many sales there were, so we can't say that sales increased. We can say the proportions increased.
So I think that's important. But let's remember that you're doing an English test. You're not doing a maths test. This is why it's pretty simple. This is why they show you the proportions, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
Finally, I think that there's a better CC word that they could use.
What do you mean by CC word?
So a CC word is a cohesion and coherence word. It's a word that we use to connect our ideas and connect our sentences.
Yeah, it's one of the marking criteria that we have. And you can look in the description of this video, and if you go down to the bottom, you'll see the publicly sort of available marking descriptors for writing. There's also one for speaking there. And you can see it's one of the 4 criteria.
Now, in particular, but.
But.
Look at that but.
Yeah, it's a basic but. Would you prefer a fancier but?
I would prefer a fancier word, sir.
Yeah, it's true, yeah.
So, in addition, online sales, we talked about this. The proportion of online sales of traveling, film, music, and books had increased over the decade. I would probably say we don't know if it's throughout. Over is better. Yeah. While outfit sales had become less.
Yeah, something like this would be better. I agree.
Yes.
So if we move on to the next one, so first paragraph of the body.
How about you read it out?
I will read it, yeah. So 2003 saw just above the 3rd percentage in the area of travelling sector sales. It's difficult to say. It was followed by a decrease to just below a 3rd in 2013. In both time frames, it was the dominant sector in New Zealand's online transactions as opposed to the 3 other industries.
I liked the last sentence.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty good one, yeah. Nice.
But the first 2 sentences...
Yeah, so the first one, I was stumbling when I was reading it. 2003 saw just above the 3rd percentage in the area of travelling sector sales. the third percentage? Is that a ranking?
I
Is
think
that
they were
a
trying to say
proportion?
a third.
Yeah.
But even that is still using the wrong structure
Yeah.
that we use to describe percentages.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're talking about traveling in 2003, so 36%. So, yeah, I mean, is it nearly a third of total sales? Is that what we're saying?
That's the thing that makes percentages tricky in English, is that it's always a percentage of something.
Yeah.
So if I was going to change the sentence to fix the grammar, to make it okay, I would use one of two sentence frames. If we wanted to use one that was closer to what he said, I would say just over a third of total retail sales in New Zealand were for travel, or were for the travel sector.
Yeah, something like this would be much clearer.
Alternatively, this is the second sentence frame that we can use. Traveling accounted for just over a third of all online retail sector sales in New Zealand. These are the two sentence frames that you guys can use to describe pie charts. This is the basic one. There are higher level ones out there, but this is the basic.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think for the following sentence, you have to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you would choose the first one that Michael mentioned, and then the second one you might use it in the second sentence. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so let's have a look at the next paragraph. Do you want to read that one out?
Okay. 2013 witnessed an increase in the proportion of film, music, and book sales from 21% and 19% in 2003 to 33% and 22% respectively. Ooh, I like that.
That's a good sentence.
In contrast, e-shopping sales had significantly decreased in the clothes market from 24% to 16%. Yeah.
Yeah, I think actually paragraph 2 is their saving grace.
Mm-hmm.
They had a bit of trouble early on in this essay, but the last paragraph is pretty good actually.
Yeah. I liked these sentences. I liked the CC words that he used. In contrast, used really well.
Yeah.
Talking about the change over time, using increase and decrease is also great. And even that very first sentence, high-level vocabulary used correctly. 2013 witnessed an increase.
Yeah, very nice.
That's nice.
Yeah. Okay, so this is how we would sort of go to improve what's written here. And unfortunately, I don't remember who posted this. So if you were watching at any point, this is for you. So should we tackle just one more essay?
Yes.
Okay, let's go for it.
I believe we were going to go down to essay 8.
Okay, essay 8, let's have a look at that.
Shiza Ali, I think.
Yes. Okay. So I'll try and get this on the screen as I go. And don't forget, if you're watching this live or in the playback, you can go to the description and we've got the document that we're looking at, and you can have a look at all these examples and see what we're actually talking about.
And if you want to have us mark this live on camera, if you're feeling brave, send us a few of yours and we'll do the exact same thing.
Definitely. Okay, so let's go through it. So first of all, let's look at the prompt.
Mm-hmm.
So it says some people think that the government should spend more money on public services, maybe, rather than wasting it on the arts. To what extent do you agree? So I think I just copied this down. This is not how it would appear in the exam. Yeah. Okay, so immediately I know the kind of structure I'm expecting them to write.
Yeah, and
So,
what is that?
Well, this is clearly an opinion essay.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to do is very clearly answer the question, to what extent do you agree, stating my opinion, and then giving evidence for my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't care what anyone else thinks. I'm just writing about my opinion.
And just for the overall structure, introduction paragraph should only be 2 to 3 sentences. The last sentence in that paragraph is called your thesis, and that's where you're answering the question. You're saying how much you agree. Body 1 will be supporting. It's going to be saying why you agree. Body 2 will be a second point about why you agree. And then your conclusion will just be a summary of your thesis and topic sentence 1 and 2.
Definitely, Okay, so let's go through and quickly have a look. So overall, we had a bit of a read through this before. How do you think they did? Because I can already see there's a bit of an opinion there.
Yep.
But overall, do you think they would have got a good score for the task response?
I mean, yes. However, they made okay points, but the fact that their grammar and vocab were holding them back meant that it was hard to tell what their points were exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And that would that would limit them a lot. It is true that task response is separate from vocabulary and grammar. Like if you have good points in there, you can still get a high score. But if the examiner can't understand what you're saying because of your grammar and vocab problems, it doesn't matter how good your points are if they can't understand them.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, this is why it's all a blend, right?
Yeah, they're usually quite connected. Actually, you're not going to see big jumps between the different scores.
Yeah, so this is why a lot of people ask, how do you improve your writing? A lot of people just say, oh, improve your vocabulary, improve your grammar. That's not going to be enough on its own. And the same as you said, just having good points is not enough on its own. Okay, so let's go through this and just do it line by line. Shall I read the introduction?
Yes, please.
Okay. So it says, good governance is extremely essential for a country to fully prosper, for which funds should be allocated for the benefit of common people. While some people believe that government should invest more in the field of arts, I, however, do not agree with this. Okay. So I do like the fact that they've attempted to rephrase the prompt, and they have given a stance, although it's always dangerous to use that word agree in your opinion. If you don't use it correctly, you can get it wrong. A few things I wouldn't say is obviously never abbreviate things like government. You should have no abbreviations like that.
This is an academic writing.
Yeah.
Register is important. How you say things is important.
Definitely, yeah. And I don't really like the phrase "is extremely essential." Is essential, I think, is you don't need extremely essential. It's not a good collocation.
Yes, there are certain words where if the meaning already means the extreme, you don't add a modifier before it.
Yeah.
Yes, this is an example of that.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't say extremely fantastic because fantastic means very, very good.
Yeah. And to the same extent, I don't know if you would agree with this, but for me, from Britain, common people, it doesn't mean general public. It means less affluent, not as rich, not as sophisticated. I can see why they used it, but it doesn't mean the same as the general public.
I would change it to the common good.
That would be a good collocation, yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the prompt. It doesn't say the public, general public, so you could use that as well. And what do you think about the actual thesis statement, the opinion?
I thought it was okay. Yeah. This person even used the agree sentence correctly because he's agreeing with something that was said before.
Yeah.
However, generally, especially if you're a lower level student, I always strongly recommend my students to just say I think or I believe so that you don't fall into the trap of misusing I agree.
Okay. So do you want to have a crack at the body paragraph 1?
Yes. In order to serve the local community, it is important to provide primary, secondary, and tertiary health care facilities to public, for which more hospitals need to be built. Building free medical treatment to community is the responsibility of the government, as most of the people are unable to afford the expansive medical treatments. Moreover, it is also the duty of higher authorities to improve the infrastructure of hospitals by installing new equipment and hiring qualified staff.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, it's very easy to see this here in the document. There are a few spelling mistakes and grammar mistakes.
Yes.
Obviously, you don't get that in the exam, even if you're doing the computer-based one.
No spell check in the computer-based.
Yeah. So if for example, if you're taking a class with the tutor and they keep writing in red, you know, maybe not lies, but writing, you know, mistake and spelling mistakes, learn those words, put them on a list and practice how to spell them. We all have this, right? We all have words that are tricky to spell.
Even native speakers.
Yeah.
English spelling sucks.
I think I only really learned how to spell convenient a few years ago. I was always confused.
I used to always spell morning with a U. Probably confused a lot of people. Good morning. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, because to mourn is when someone's died and you're sad, right? Funny. Okay, so looking at the actual paragraph, apart from these spelling mistakes and grammar mistakes, what else do you think is good and what's bad?
I mean, this is talking about how you should spend your money on public service, but it's saying nothing about why this is better than spending it on art.
Yeah, so it's not really talking about their opinion and the reason why they've chosen that stance.
And it's not even talking about the comparison. This is what it's asking. It's the comparison of public services to using government money for art. And that's not being done here.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that they set this up for it to be, this is why we should spend it on public service, and then body 2 will be, this is why we spend it on art. But that's not clear here.
Yeah.
This seems disconnected because it's not even mentioning the comparison.
So a really easy way to do this would be to talk about that in the topic sentence, the very first sentence. And, you know, you could say as simply as first looking at X, you know, and now the reader knows, okay, we're going to address this part of the argument or this part of the opinion. And then whatever you write is going to fit much more to your thesis. We're looking at linking things back. So I think that's a really good point.
If I was going to give a specific topic sentence, just he gave a good
vague
general one. Yes.
General.
to give a specific one, I'd probably say, to keep his main points there, I'd probably say, it is clear that to better serve the public, healthcare facilities need to be improved, which cannot be done if we use these resources for art.
Yeah, then it's very clear. Yeah.
You've got the comparison, and then you can keep the same points. And now those points are supporting that idea. Yeah. Yes.
So that's basically the structure, a good, clear topic sentence in any of the Task 2 IELTS essays, and then everything else is supporting details to almost prove that topic sentence. That's the way you need to structure it. Yeah. Okay, any other comments apart from what we've mentioned and the spelling mistakes? And
I mean, there's a few little grammar things, but actually I was quite impressed with his vocabulary here.
Yeah.
Using words like primary, secondary, and tertiary healthcare facilities correctly.
I often see a tertiary in there.
It's true.
So we can use these phrases, primary, in industry, for example. Primary industry for a chair. Primary industry is cutting down the tree. Secondary industry is making the chair, and the tertiary is someone selling the chair, basically. This is really good,
And then higher authorities is a nice synonym for government, which was good. Yeah, but it all ties back to these points are disconnected from the main thesis. So
yeah,
yes.
So that's going to really affect the
task response.
The task response, but also in a certain sense, it's coherence. It's not easy to follow what's being said. Yeah. Okay. So the second paragraph.
Body 2. Yeah.
Oh, it's a long one. Let me go through. So free education is another area of concern for which more schools and colleges needs to be established. It is the responsibility of Gov to provide free education to every child above 5 years of age. Although I concede that art depicts our cultural heritage, which defines identity of nation, but it is more important to educate the young generation as they are the ones who make the future of a country. Need to breathe. A society cannot prosper globally without having the educated people. In addition to this, vocational training institutes are also necessary to build up as they help the individuals to learn specific skills. A qualified person can easily cope with the challenges of modern world through his manners and knowledge. So this one, I think, again, it's the same issues that we've spoken about. There's some of that abbreviated language. Again, government, learn how to spell it. You can't abbreviate that. And there's also a few little grammar issues and spelling mistakes here and there.
I think it falls into the same problem as body 1 too, though, where it's not adequately saying why these resources are better spent.
Yeah.
There's a implication, but it's a very, very slight implication.
You need to make it much clearer. I would say if you're currently writing anywhere below a level, a band 8 or something like that, you've got to be super clear. If this is an opinion essay, you need to use language that says this is what I think, and I think it because of these reasons. That needs to be throughout this essay to make it much clearer. Otherwise, it's not going to be as easy for the exam to give you a higher grade.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That being said, there was a concession, which I thought was good. Concessions are good. Concessions are when you say the opposing team is right about this. But the reason why you include concessions is so that you can still shut them down.
Yeah. This is a very high-level way to write an essay, and if you get it right, I think it's going to give you a good score. But it's not always easy, because if you get it wrong, it sounds like you're saying throughout the essay, I think this, I think this. Well, actually, now I think this, which is not a good thing. Yeah.
Yes.
The only grammar issue that I will pick out, which I do see quite a lot, is in the third sentence where it begins with although I concede. So what you were talking about. Afterwards, it says but in the second clause. We don't want to use two conjunctions like that.
We don't do that in English.
Although is already contrasting two ideas. If you put a but in there, it's doing the same thing. It's redundant.
The way that you should always remember is although A, comma B.
Yeah.
No but. No and. No however. Okay.
Okay, and then the conclusion. Let's look at that.
Okay. In conclusion, it is important for the authorities to spend revenue of the country for the prosperity of the nation by providing free medical facilities and education. This will aid in the growth of the nation. Okay. This explains why the essay had its problems. This is his thesis. He's saying his whole essay is about why the nation needs to spend money on medical facilities and education. If this was what the essay was supposed to be about, this would have been a perfectly good essay. Would have been.
Yeah.
Is it a perfectly good essay?
No.
No. Because, again, this is not the topic. This is a great conclusion for this essay, but this is not the essay for this prompt.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes down to.
And the other thing for an opinion essay, just in general, you've got to restate your opinion. Make it very clear in the conclusion. And I don't see any language that says that. I don't see any I agree or anything like that. So for me, that's an issue as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So those are just some of our thoughts on these essays. So basically, we'll be doing this on a regular basis. If you want us to have a look at what you're doing, then you've got to send us a link to wherever you've got that essay, or
you can post it on our Facebook group.
In our Facebook group. You can also come and have a chat with us in Discord. We've got all the information to that in the description. You can join us there, and we'll try and make this a regular sort of weekly event, and hopefully, I don't know.
This can be a party. This can be the essay party.
Yeah, the Friday afternoon essay party.
We know that's exactly what you want to do with your Friday nights.
Even I'm thinking, can I go somewhere else? Okay, so thanks very much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, earlier if you come join Discord. Peace.
Yeah. Okay, so